The division is ours.
Oh
I don't
gosh.
care what Houston did yesterday. They're going to go get their Letterman jackets again. The Indianapolis Colts are 2-6 against the Titans since Pat McAfee came up here and did his wrestling announcement. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, they haven't had back-to-back winning seasons since I was a senior in high school.
Everybody catches.
I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. It's Kush. Love me too much and your brain turn to mush. Fall flat on your tush. You couldn't handle the product I push. I guess I'm just used to it, I just do it. Like Nike swoosh, none of that Reggie Bush, cause I'm top shelf. I ain't got wealth, but I'm on my grind like park rails. I'd sell the shoes right off my 2 feet, then add one, that's a yard sale. Got dumb bars that be smarter than Harvard, Yale. Take your pictures elsewhere, you wanna be TMZ, I wanna be VIP. Quit pandering, I'm not answering, cause I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. All of that bark and no bite, that's alright. Not everyone can be the big dog. Take a walk, kick rocks, can't keep me out cause I pick locks. They hearing me knocking, I'll never be stopping. I keep this shit popping like lip gloss. Get me pissed off and the whole squad point the red dots. Something like chicken pox, give me all what you got like it raw, shimmy y'all. Feeling like Tony Hawk, never stop, let it rock, better not get involved. Running a marathon and you a tortoise. This my world, you a tourist. Fuck with the bullet, you get in the horns, I'm a tourist. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop.
You're on mute there, buddy.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Titans Fan Battle Podcast. Brought to you as always by the Fan Battle Sports Network. And always remember to like, follow, share, comment, subscribe. Hit us up on fanbattlesports.com. Check out the latest blogs, opinions, articles for all your favorite teams. But we hope everyone had a great holiday season, enjoying the new year. And speaking of a new year, it's New Year, New Titans. So, Tyler, you want to let everyone know how the Titans are going to dominate this Sunday?
About that.
Yeah, well, we can get into that bad news a bit later. But, yeah, we'll start it off with a little bit of divisional news. So there's still 3 teams in the division alive for the playoffs. So the shakedown comes basically if the Jags win, they win the division. But if the Jags lose to tomorrow and either the Steelers or the Broncos win their game, then the Jaguars would miss the playoffs. So what do you think the likelihood is? Well, first of all, the Steelers and Broncos, do you think one of them can win their games?
I think, like we were talking before we went live, I think it's very likely that the Steelers win. There's a lot of implications that are going to go into them winning. They are going to be playing a Ravens that are sitting their starters. Lamar Jackson will not be playing. So I think between the Broncos and Steelers, I think the Steelers have the easier chance to make the playoffs with a win.
Yeah, I agree. The Broncos are at the Raiders, who have a losing record, but they're 7-9, and 5 of their 7 wins have came at home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not going to be, and they're sitting Russell Wilson, so that's not going to be an easy win for the Broncos.
Yeah, correct. I mean, I'm not saying the Broncos can't win. I mean, anything can happen. But I think that the Raiders are playing collectively a lot better than what the Broncos have been these past couple of weeks. So yeah, I think the Steelers have a better chance.
Yeah, I agree with Lamar. I think they're going to sit everybody because they've secured the 1 seed at this point. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and getting on to the bad news of the Titans, Titans have officially shut Levis down, ruling him out tomorrow. So his rookie season's done after the injured foot in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
he
it's
was also injured. He had 2 injuries in college as well. Like, do you think this is going to be a trend with him throughout his career?
I'm gonna say no. I think that it's very clear. The expectation is amongst the Titans fans is that the Titans go out and fix that offensive line, either in free agency or the draft, if not both. So I think when your left tackle position alone has allowed 20 sacks in one season, I think anyone's going to get injured when you have that very important critical part of your offensive line is playing that poorly this season.
Yeah, and as a unit, they've allowed the 3rd most sacks in the league. They're 1 sack away from allowing the 2nd most sacks in the league. And going up against the Jaguars front 7 this weekend, they're probably going to allow another sack, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, I would agree. Especially when you've got a line. I think Josh Allen, the linebacker for the Jaguars, is a half sack away from being tied for first place.
Yep. Yeah, and the other big Titans news in the game is this is potentially Derrick Henry's final time in two-tone blue. So he's going, if it is his final time, he's going out at home playing against his hometown Jaguars team. So you think this will be his final time, or you think that they work something out this offseason?
I do not think it'll be his final time. I think with all the players that their contracts are up, I think the one that is more likely that we franchise is Derrick Henry. When you have a running back who, with as poor of an offensive line play that we've had this year, still be in the top 5 in rushing yards, and hit over 10 TDs on the season, I think you would be dumb to let him walk. I definitely think that we need to bring him back to help develop Tyjae Spears to be the running back of the future. I think because Derrick Henry has a lot of knowledge that he can help Tyjae with. I mean, we had DeMarco Murray help Derrick Henry and help develop him. So I think if I'm management and I think Tyjae Spears has a shot to be our RB1 of the future, I think we need to bring back Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see him come back. The way he's been talking the last couple of weeks in the post-game press conferences, I'm not sure if he does come back. Up until the loss at Houston, I was thinking he's going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's talking about a bitter end and stuff like that. It sounds like he's ready to move on. But like you said, we always have the franchise tag that is an option to keep him here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we end up franchise tagging him.
Yeah, and he turned 30 this year, or turned 30, I think, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So if 30 is usually the limit for running back. So if we do franchise him until he's 31, that's probably getting most of the juice out of him that we can.
Yeah. I mean, or he can be the next Frank Gore and, play until your mid-30s, but, only choose to play for teams that have a good offensive line.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I think I think when he says he wants to retire a Titan, that he's being honest about that. He ain't just talking.
Yeah.
But I could 100% see him going to Rand Carthon and saying that he ain't going to sign or even negotiate till he sees what we're going to do with offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's going to want to feel comfortable to come back here.
Correct. I can see that.
But speaking of the offensive line, let's talk about what happened in Houston. So, in addition to getting Levis injured, they nearly got Tannehill injured. And Tannehill came in and he was 16 of 20 on the day. So, I mean, he was efficient when he had time, but he had more sacks than incompletions. They allowed 7 sacks, I think, 6 or 7 sacks on the day, 5 to Tannehill. So, I mean, with the offensive line in those kind of shambles, do you think it's a good thing Levis ain't playing this week, or you think he needs all the reps he can get?
I mean, last week I definitely said that I think that he needs all of the reps that he can get. But we definitely don't want him to cause further injury to that foot. I mean, we really don't have anything on the line at this point in time. We're just trying to get a higher draft spot to potentially have a shot at Marvin Harrison Jr. or one of the top tier offensive linemen that are going into the draft this year. I don't want him to. I want him to be as solid as possible for training camp. So I'm okay with it. I mean, I would like obviously for him to get all the reps possible, but I don't want him to re-injure himself and then cause an even bigger injury that could potentially leave him out of training camp next summer.
Yeah, I agree. I've said all along that if he's healthy enough to play, then he should be playing. But if he's not healthy enough to play, then he shouldn't be put out behind that offensive line.
Yeah.
So I'm all right. I wish he was getting the reps, but I'm all right with the decision to shut him down.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all bad. We had Henry went over 1,000 for the year, as well as Hopkins. We talked last week about they both could potentially go over 1,000 for the year, so they both hit those benchmarks for themselves.
Which I'm happy that they did. Yeah. Ironic that D-Hop got that 1,000 yards against his former team.
Yeah, and in the building where most of his career yards have came. So
that is interesting.
You think Hopkins is good because we got him for another year? You think that that his age is going to catch up to him? You think that he's good for another year?
I think that if we add another premier wide receiver, whether we go out and we get Michael Thomas, who I'm assuming the Saints are going to cut, or T. Higgins, another wide receiver that is going to split some DBs, and it's going to be hard for teams to double cover because you can't double cover, everyone. I think he could have the possibility to continue to play at a high level.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this year we've used him as a wide receiver 1 because we was expecting Burks to be the one and he couldn't be. And I don't think that he's a wide receiver 1 at this point in his career, but he's he's a top tier wide receiver 2 if we bring someone in that can help him out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if we have a shot at Marvin Harrison, I would have depending upon how this weekend, shakes up. Obviously, in my opinion, if Marvin Harrison's available, you take him. If you pair Marvin Harrison with D-Hop, that at least even for one season, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of the draft pick, let's talk about this Sunday. Are you in favor of going after the draft pick, or do you want to spoil the Jags fun?
Well, I mean, as I've said before, I would like for us to get the lowest draft pick possible to get the best player possible, and I'm not opposed to Jacksonville having a higher pick, so that way they're less likely to get a premier player.
Yeah, see, I don't know that I still want revenge for last January. They ruined their season last year, so I want to get a little bit of revenge on them tomorrow.
I mean, that sounds nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's definitely compelling. I'm definitely you can definitely get me behind that. And if this is Derrick Henry's last game, if Rand decides not to bring Derrick Henry back, for whatever the case may be, I would love Derrick Henry to have been a part of the team that knocked the Jags out of the playoffs.
And with the possibility of it being Henry's last game and with his future with the team in limbo, do you think that they feature him? Do you think that they go out there and give him the opportunity to get 25 carries and go off this game? Or do you think that they ride the young guys and get some young guys some reps?
I mean, I definitely think that they ride Derrick Henry, especially if Trevor Lawrence doesn't play. I read that he's a game time decision. So if T-Law doesn't play, I think that they definitely ride Derrick Henry in this game.
Yeah, and I think Lawrence, I think that's all smoke and mirrors. I think he plays because even though you got a shoulder injury, like if you're able to practice, because he practiced twice this week, if he's able to practice and to throw, even if it ain't live routes in practice, if he's throwing the ball in practice and your entire season's on the line, then I think you have to play. Because if he goes out there and he doesn't play, then he's not the dog and the competitor that the Jaguar fans claim he is.
I agree with that statement that you're making.
And also Tannehill, I mean, almost 100% guaranteed it's his last game as a Titan. So, I mean, what do you expect out of him this game? Or do you expect him to just try to protect himself, scrambling for his life behind that line?
I think that he has more to prove than he has to lose. If I'm Ryan Tannehill and I want to continue to be in the NFL, I want to prove that I can go out here and I can still be a threat and I can lead your team to the playoffs, and that I'm actually useful to the team. I think I'm on board that I think it is Ryan Tannehill's last game and last season as a Titan. So if I go out there and I suck, that's going to hurt his value going into free agency come March. So if I were him, I would want to go out there and have as best of a game as possible.
Yeah, I agree. But you was mentioning draft picks earlier, so tying into that draft pick, I've seen now 4 teams that are rumored to be in on the trade talks for Vrabel, and 3 of the 4 I think are in the top 5 of the 24 draft. Do you think there's any chance that trigger gets pulled and we end up with 2 top 5 picks?
No, I think it's all smoke. I don't know who is. I think that there's going to be quite a few coaches that get fired on Black Monday. Number 1. Yep. Number 2, no, I don't foresee any team giving up a top 5 pick for a head coach. Especially not Mike Vrabel. I don't foresee that happening.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I want him to stay here. I want at least 1 more year out of him. He's got 2 years on his contract. So normally you don't run a head coach if you're going to keep him into his final year. That next year would be the prove it year. Then you either extend him or fire him. Yeah. So I would like to see him get that opportunity to turn it around, because he turned the team around once and he's had 1 bad year. I say let him go. give him this $100 million in cap space and let him make a run at it?
Well, I've read independent reports that say that Mike Vrabel is supposed to meet with ownership regarding his job sometime either Sunday or Monday. I'm assuming after the game. So I think if he loses tomorrow, I do think he's gone. My philosophy is that if a coach has back-to-back losing seasons and misses the playoffs, then they should be fired. And that's just my philosophy. We had a shot last year to make the playoffs and we squandered it. And if he loses tomorrow, that means we go 0-6 in the division. That's just my belief. I know that you and I differ on our viewpoint on Mike Vrabel, but I would really, 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 if it were me and I fire Mike Vrabel, I'm picking up the phone and I'm dialing. I'm going to say, "Hi, this is Amy Adams Strunk, the owner of the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, hi. Can I speak to John Harbaugh? Hi, John Harbaugh. This is the owner of the Tennessee Titans. I know that you are about to play Washington for the national championship. What do you think about coming out to the NFL?" I'd offer him the job.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that name tossed around a lot for the job, but that'd be an interesting one. Then you got both Harbaugh brothers in the AFC at that point.
Yep.
And it could get interesting if, like you said, if he loses and goes 0-6, that's would make us winless in the division for the first time in decades.
And that's not a negative thing that you want to be able to say about your team. I mean, name me an owner that wants to go 0-6 in their division and wants to keep their head coach.
Yeah, and I saw one post in the Titans Elite group, and it was a fan that had went to the Houston game, and they got on the field and got an autograph from Rand Carthon, and they asked him about Vrabel's job security, and Rand said that his GM seat is hotter than the head coach seat is. So if we let Vrabel go, there's a chance we could be letting the entire front office go and just hit the reset button totally.
I don't understand why we would get rid of Rand one season as a GM. If he took over as GM and we went from fighting for the division, fighting for a playoff spot, and went like 0-17, I'd be like, yeah, definitely fire Rand. I don't foresee Rand getting fired.
Yeah, the rumor was that the commissioner's office of the NFL was heavy-handed in pushing Rand on Amy, and that wasn't her first choice for a GM, and that there's some kind of backdoor incentives that are going on that got Rand the job. So if that wasn't Amy's choice and she's going to fire the head coach anyway, I could see her emptying the whole lot of them. But like you said, he hit on some gems in the draft. He got his Spears, he got his Peter Skronsky, he got his Levis. Like it's hard to argue that Rand didn't do a good job in his first year.
Yeah, I mean, I would be okay with keeping him for one more year, solely on the basis that he had very little cap space to work with to really bring in good premier players that are going to make a difference for this team.
Yeah, I agree. And there's wide receivers, there's centers, and there's good guards that are available in free agency. So he could fix this offense in one off season if he goes out and spends the money, right?
Yeah, on top of the fact that we're projected to have, some high draft picks. I know right now we don't have a third round pick, but I mean, Rand could trade down once in the second round and get us a third round pick.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But looking at tomorrow's game, you got any predictions on the score, the outcome?
Well, I think it's 50-50. If Trevor Lawrence plays, I think Jags definitely wholeheartedly win. If Trevor Lawrence plays, it'll be 31-17. Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, it'll be a lot closer. I don't think if we win, I don't think it'll be a large score for both. If Trevor Lawrence does not play, I say Titans win 20-14.
I could say on Monday I'll stick with my Monday prediction, which was that Trevor Lawrence will play and the Jags will win 31-17. But Henry will have 135 yards and 2 touchdowns on his way out.
Okay. I mean, I could get behind it. I don't think it's going to happen, but we can get behind it.
Yeah, that's the goal for. But I think that'll wrap us up this week. We can go get ready and watch this Steelers and Ravens game.
Mm-hmm.
Want to let everyone know where they can find you at?
You can follow me on Facebook at Tyler Warren or on Instagram at ManningofSteel18.
Awesome. And just want to say thanks everyone again joining us, and don't forget to follow, subscribe, share, and join us over on fanbattlesports.com. And as always, get you some mayo in your diet.
Have a good weekend, everyone.